Hey everyone, and what? Look, this is recording 112 again, and it is not recording 112. I just did recording 166, so this should be recording 167, and it's going back to recording 112 again. So, I mean, there's a lot going on with Bad Boy Entertainment right now. I'm not even about to get into that because that is wild AF. Like, that's a whole nother situation. But, on the podcast, I've been mentioning this. So I'm going to mention it a third time to like triple down on it. But I woke up, not too long ago singing that, Pretty Brown Eyes song, Pretty Brown Eyes. I can't even think about it now. But then right after that, I started singing, oh my gosh, now I can't remember the words to this Cupid song. I started singing, but you don't know unless you give it a try. Now I know I don't have the harmony together and everything like that. That's not the point right now. The point right now, though, is I woke up singing that. And I was like, oh my gosh, what song is that? I could not remember what song it was. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are the rest of the lyrics? Because I remember growing up in New Orleans, we had Sunday morning slow jams before church, which is a whole nother situation. Before church, we had Sunday morning slow jams. Arguably, kids should not be listening to that, but it's cool though. Iwa. Interesting. I just previously was doing this and I felt like I was talking entirely too much. And I saw Ava, I saw 147, I saw my number 6336, and then I just saw Iwa, which makes me think about, and then Saraswati, which makes me think about the tree in Avatar. Okay. Hold on, let me focus because I'm gonna go everywhere. Let me rein in these Gemini placements, okay? Okay, today I saw something. I'm just about to scrap everything that I was talking about because I'm about to go off on all these other tangents, and that's not what I want to do. I want to actually focus on what I'm trying to talk about today, okay? All right. So, look, as this white and black Charger pulls up. Okay. Let me focus. Hey, you guys. I'm focusing myself. Okay, I'm recalibrating myself. Come on, girl. Let's get it together. Okay. So today I was listening to this gentleman on YouTube, and it sparked something that I wanted to talk about from my first QHHT session. Okay. So this gentleman, I was I don't know the exact story, but pretty much he was talking about how a lot of the King of Solomon seals and sigils that they write for these 72 demons, 72 angels, and he's supposed to have the power over these energies or whatever, which he got from the Queen of Sheba. Let me not say it that way because that sounds spicy. Not that he took it. Well, I don't know, because that seemed to be what the case is. That's what I seem to have a remembrance of in some type of way. Was that I'm not sure if he got this where it was necessarily just God gave it to him. I don't know if that's the story. But nonetheless, it's Solomon's Keys. Okay. So he was talking about how a lot of them are written incorrectly. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I heard in my QHHT session. So I want to talk about this. I have had four QHHT sessions, where I have actually gotten sessions, and all of them have been bananas. I only talked about the second one so far, which is Sophia, and then Operation Sophia. So in the session, I told her that my name was Sophia, and then I think it was probably at least 6 months or something later that I even started researching into it, because it was just so off the wall. I had no clue what it was talking about. And usually when I don't know what something's talking about, or there's a lot of chaotic energy or confusing energy, I usually just leave it alone and then let the universe bring it back around. That's kind of like my reset, is just to not do anything about it. So when the vibes are weird, or the energy is strange, or I'm not sure how to make heads or tails of a situation, I usually just leave it alone. And so that's what I did for like 6 months. I was just like, I don't even know what to do. And then I think it was something that I saw online. I kid you not, it was something online that I saw. And there was one of the guys that I saw in my QHHT session. I saw him online. And that first person I saw was Werner Van Braun. So that's like kind of how I started working around to figuring out, does that literally say Swoyin? What? Oh my gosh. What? What does he have to do with that? So I'm saying this word, it's SUEN. How is that connected right now? So I had this dream like a while ago. I'm gonna go off path, but it's probably really on path though. Off the train of thought, but it's still on the branch though. So I had this dream like a while ago about being called Queen Doo-Doo. I know, because like as little kids, that's associated to poop, right? And I was like, okay, like, are you trying to play me right now? Or like what's the deal? Like, are we friends? Like, why are you doing this? And so and so they were like, this has to do with Carthage. And it's like, okay, North Africa. Okay, cool. So I wrote it down because they spelled it out. And they were like, DD is a reflection of doo-doo. It's just so funny because I have not heard these things since childhood, right? And then, of course, you start doing research on things. You start realizing that the meaning of words is very subjective to different time periods. So, like, I'm not going to curse, but, the other word that we associate to poop that is a cursed word is actually, it's actually found in one of the most sacred trees that they have in ancient Egypt, which is the shittim tree, which is the acacia tree, which the vulture goddess Ioset, who I do not believe is directly Isis. Now, they could be associated to each other. But I found her connected to Malkart in ancient Phoenicia. As Seos, which I believe is connected to Sirius. Now, I haven't specifically seen her connected to Sirius or Seos connected to Sirius, but it is connected to the Oasis, and it's connected to Ash, which is Ea, because that's pronounced Esh. Ea is Esh, like Ash, the Egyptian goddess of the Oasis, Egyptian god, of the Oasis. So, but anyways, I was looking up doo-doo, and it's actually a title in certain African countries. I can't remember right now. And it's connected to the acacia tree. And wait, what did I just see? Oh, so again, yeah. So then I looked into the Sumerian king list, and there is a king doo-doo. And so I was like, oh, okay, interesting. So I'm saying D-U-D-U. That's how you spell it, D-U-D-U. And so I asked the other day, and I was like, okay, because doo-doo means beloved. It means beloved. And there's a whole nother connection with the name Mara, which are connected to the old hags, the nightmares. Mara, right, which is also mother of Ra, which would be Nut, the night. And Amara, which I'm writing a book called Amara's Revolution. Before I even knew these connections, I got this dream about writing this book called Amara's Revolution. And that's a Mara, a mother of Ra, a mother of a son. Now there's also an entity named Mara as well, which she came to me and was like, Mara, that's my name, which is a whole other story. But anyway, so I was like, okay, Amara also means beloved. And so I was like, oh, okay, so Dudu and Amara are connected to each other. They both mean beloved or sacred or loved, the apple of someone's eye. And so I was like, okay, well, Dudu who? Like, what Dudu, beloved of who? And it said Soyin. And I know that it's like a very Asian pronunciation of it, but I mean, that's what it looks like, Soyin. Oh, look, BMW. Yeah, I'll take a BMW. Thank you. And so it's Sun, which is connected to Sin, the moon god, right? Like sinning in the Bible, which is also probably connected to like sine waves and stuff too. Monitor the pigs. That's very interesting. I just saw this notification. It's from Monitor the Pigs. So anyways, I just saw that on a car. So I'm guessing that has to do with this information right now. I don't know how. But anyways, let me go back to what I was originally talking about. Okay. So back to what I was talking about. So yeah, in this QHHT session, the part I'm going to talk about was where I was some type of time traveler. And I'm going to say that like very lightly. Time traveler, like that wasn't my job, but there was part of like, being able to have time traveling abilities in order to be a part of this organization or something like that. I don't even know if I would call it an organization. It wasn't really an organization. It was like, I had like a teacher, but I'm not sure what his name was or anything like that, to be honest with you. And he was teaching me how to jump on coordinates. That's what he was teaching me. And I heard him, like, in reality. Like, he was, like, in reality. It was, like, a massive energy. And I heard him say, he was like, you're not ready to make this jump yet. And if you don't jump correctly, you're going to get yourself into trouble. And so I remember telling him, I was like, I'll be fine. I'll probably be good. Like, I think I've got it down. And so, of course, me and this teacher were very, very familiar with each other. We had, like, a little bit more of, like, a family, connection. But in this moment, though, I respected him as my teacher, okay? And so he knew my personality enough to be like, she's probably going to jump anyway. And so we'll just see how it goes, okay? So I did the jump and dun da da da. I jumped wrong. And so I'm like, oh snap, I jumped incorrectly. I'm like, I really jumped wrong. And so I knew that wherever I jumped, I landed in water, okay? And I could see this golden triangle. And this was like the, a regular triangle. So I think that represents water, I think. Ooh, child, I don't know. With the alchemy symbols. Let me see right quick. Hold on. Let me just see right quick. Because I don't have to be wrong right now. Okay. Alchemy symbols. Yeah. Let me see. Just a regular triangle, but I forgot what that one. Oh, see, I was wrong. It represents fire. Okay, so I could see this golden triangle and it was like illuminating. It was hovering over the water. And I knew that was representing the Bermuda Triangle. And it was connected to, I kept hearing it's connected to the Devil's Triangle, which I did some research on it. And I believe the Devil's Triangle is in Japan. And then there's like a third triangle is connected to, but I can't remember the third one right now. I'm going to have to do a breakdown of like the actual QHHT session. I don't know. But anyways, I was next to the triangle by the Bermuda Triangle. And I was supposed to, I guess, be jumping into the Bermuda Triangle. But I ended up being off with the coordinates. And so that's when it started. And so he was like, and I literally felt like he was trying to pull me to the right, and there was like a vortex or maybe even a black hole that was pulling me to the left. And this was like in the middle of like reality. And he was like, this vortex is way too strong for me to be able to hold on to. He was like, you're just going to have to go into it. And I was like, oh, snap. And like, we were both terrified. And it's like, he had not experienced jumping wrongly. And so it seemed like other people had jumped wrong. And he didn't really tell me what the kind of response to that was, right? Because he told me right off the bat, he was like, I am not strong enough like to pull you from this vortex. This vortex is really powerful. And so I was like terrified, and he was terrified, and I felt him literally like trying to pull me to the right, to pull me off of this coordinate. And it didn't work. So I was like, you know what? Ooh, BWA, interesting. And so I was just like, okay, let's just I was like, just let me go and we'll just see how it goes. So he let go, and I just went into this vortex kind of thing. Now, I didn't actually see like a whirling vortex. That's not what I saw. I literally saw on the right of me was like reality, where I was still hovering above the water. I saw the thing, and I could feel him pulling me. So I couldn't even see him. I could feel him. And then on the left side was just like pitch black. And I was like, oh, snap. I like really got myself into some trouble. So anyways, I ended up falling into this void, not falling into it, like it just took over the reality. So I was just in the void space. Okay. So as I'm in this void space, I'm looking at this. I don't know how to describe this. So it looks like something you would see off of Star Wars, honestly. There's like this kind of like white cylinder grooved thing that it kind of reminds me of some of the like energy weapons they had in Star Wars, like these long kind of like fascists, like the bundle thing. It doesn't exactly look like that. It's all together as one kind of long white kind of cylindrical situation. And it wasn't a weapon, it was like a energy source. So there was another triangle above this energy source. It was kind of like this white power generator. I don't know what to call it. Power generator. And it was like giving off an energy that was keeping this golden triangle. So this is a different one, not the one that was in front of, like by the Bermuda Triangle over the water. This is a different one in the void, and it was opposite of that one. So this one was a water one. So this is like a inverted triangle, right? So this was the water one, and it looked a little bit different than that one too. So the one over the water was like a solid gold triangle, and this one was like a dashed golden triangle. Like, when kids have to, practice their letters and stuff, and they have like the dashes, so they have to follow them and connect it to help them make the letter. That's what this one looked like. And it was hovering above this kind of white energy thing that was keeping it afloat through some type of energy something. I don't know, child. I knew it was important, and I kept seeing this two-dimensional shadow silhouette of what looked like the thinker, but it also looked like Atlas. And that's what I kept thinking in my head. I was like, this is Atlas, but where is his world? Because Atlas has the world on his back. And I kept saying, where is Atlas's world? Did he lose his world? Like, where is his world? And the image kept getting smaller, then it would get bigger, and it was like hovering around the space too. And I was like trying to figure out, I was like, I don't even know why we're here. And I don't know if it was aware of me. It could have been aware of me. I don't know if like it getting bigger and smaller, was it trying to like talk to me and relay things? I don't even know, child. I was like, I see him, but I don't know what he is or what he's trying to do. But it did feel like, if I had to guess, it did feel like he was also trying to figure out what this thing was, because neither one of us knew what this power device thing, we didn't know what it was. So anyways, what I ended up finding out, I'm going to skip over some things, is that this device had the power to fractalize you so that you could see your different dimensional selves. That's what it was. It was some type of fractal device that had the ability to separate you and your dimensional selves so that you could see all yourselves completely. So I don't know if the Atlas thing was a part of myself that was like disembodied and I didn't know where he belonged, because I kind of get that feeling that I was like connected to him or something like that. I don't even know. So anyways, what we ended up finding out in this session was that I was the 5th dimensional construct of myself, even though I'm down here in the 3rd dimension. So I had a 4th dimensional self, 3rd dimensional self, 2nd dimensional self, 1st dimensional self, and I could actually see them as, it's 12:21. Okay. I could actually see them as different layers of reality. Like, it literally looked like boxes of reality underneath me. And so I'm not gonna go into all of them because I want to get to my point today. So anyway, so I was 5th dimensional version, but active on the 3D plane of existence. So I don't know if I don't know, but I had to do with the 5th. I was not the 3rd interacting in the 3rd. I was the 5th interacting in the 3rd. Okay. So I could see 4, 3, 2, 1, and then below that is like the underworld. So I couldn't see anything in the underworld, child. Okay, so then I could also see above me. Oh, look, this car has 616 on it. Interesting. Every time I see 616 and 838, I think about Doctor Strange. And the other day, I was like, oh, then there must be a 727, which is really essential. That's a whole nother situation, though. We're not going to get into that right now. So anyways, I could see above me, okay? So I could see the 6th dimensional aspect above me, but that version was trapped next to King Tut's sarcophagus. I kid you not. I was like, I see King Tut's sarcophagus, and I wasn't stuck. Like, I don't even know how, let me see if I can describe it. So it was pretty much like I was standing next to the sarcophagus, but I was bound to it in some type of way. So I wasn't like laying in there with him or something. But I was like almost like standing guard at it, I guess. And it was like this snapshot of a memory, and the memory wouldn't move. And I actually tried to see if I could like rewind it to see what was before it, or, you know, fast forward it to see what was next. It was like I was like trapped in this moment, in this memory of standing guard at King Tut's tomb, his sarcophagus or whatever. And I remember that I had this green emerald scepter. So it was like a scepter of gold, and then at the top of it was an emerald scarab that was attached to it. And so yeah, it was very interesting. And I was stuck. I was tethered to the doggone sarcophagus. I was about to curse, but I caught it. Oh my gosh, like, this person has reindeer ears on their car. It's so cute. It's so cute. Okay, let me focus. Look, and here comes a car with Subaru. You know, Subaru has the Pleiades on its logo, which is definitely connected to Atlas. Doves and pigeons and things like that, all the fun things. So anyways, so oh, look, somebody's talking about Shabbat. Interesting. So anyways, so yeah, so I could see 7, 8, 9, 10, and maybe some other things, it kind of like start phasing out around 11, 12, wherever that would be. I could see them, but I couldn't interactively like interact with them. So I realized that meant that I was capped at the 6th dimension. And so in order for me to get access to my upper dimensions, I would have to open the sarcophagus and untether myself, which recently I did do. I did do that recently. So this QHHT session was when we first got to Arizona. That was like July 2021. I think it was like right before we went to Sedona. So that was like mid-July 2021. Yeah, it was right before we went to Sedona. 817, interesting. So anyway, so we didn't really focus on the 6th dimensional sarcophagus. I just saw a little white flash. Okay. So we didn't really focus on that too much because at the time I didn't really know like what else to do. I just knew that I was trapped there, and he was just like, okay, cool. Well, let's go to what's below you, what you can see. So I noticed that the 4th dimensional aspect was like totally blacked out. It was just like a black space. I saw 3, I saw 2, I saw 1, which one was like a sunflower. The second one was some type of like Neanderthal kind of like being. Third was like down helping number 2. So he had like turned into like a yellow orb by that time. So I couldn't see what the 3rd dimensional aspect actually was because he was helping number 2. So like all of these aspects of myself saw this kind of beam that this triangle gave off, and number 2 which was like the caveman kind of being, was like, he had such a fright because he didn't know what that was. He didn't have any reference for it in his reality, and he could actually see it and interact with it. So he was like freaking out. So 3 went to go help him. So they were all kind of like interactively with me in this moment, which was also bananas. So anyways, like I said, I noticed that 4 was like missing. And so I was like, 4 is gone. Like, it's just black. And so I was like, let's go and explore that. Like, let's see what's going on with my 4th dimensional aspect. So this is exactly what I see. I kid you not. This is what I see. I go into 4, which is like another type of, oh, look, there's 111 on this car right now. And I just had a dream about the Cave of Wonders. Wait, hold on. No. Because they're correcting me. They're like, you need to say it correctly. So they're really like particular about this. The Cave of Hidden Treasures. And they emphasized hidden and then treasures. So it's Cave of Treasures. It's the Cave of Hidden Treasures. And it had a 111 on it. So it was like a person within a doorway. Okay, so anyways, I went into 4, which was like another kind of void space. And so when I actually dove into it, I went to this place that I don't know, only way I could describe it is like, old London or something like that. Or, I mean, maybe England, I don't know. But it was like these old kind of cobblestones. It looked very kind of like medieval. I call a lot of things medieval. I don't actually know if it is medieval, but when you see like the Sherlock Holmes kind of stuff and like they're running on that cobblestone and it's raining outside, you can see the buildings, it's kind of like short buildings and stuff. It had that type of feel to it. And I was like, okay, interesting. We're definitely somewhere in Europe, like old London or something like that. I don't know exactly. And so, the guy was like, yeah, just kind of feel out where you are. Find yourself in this dimension. So I was like, okay. So I just set an intention. I was like, magnetize me to myself in this dimension. Child, I kid you not. 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 I told myself to magnetize myself. And I started being pulled over this countryside. And it was very, very beautiful. It was very nice. Over this countryside. And then I ended up at this place. And at this place, I saw this man, and he was like working in front of this old alchemy kind of table or something. He had all these different gadgets and tools and substances and stuff like that. Okay. And I immediately knew that it was the Count de Saint Germain. Immediately, I knew it. And so I was looking at him. Now, he could not sense me. He did not know I was there. Okay. And so I was like, oh yeah, I found him. Oh yeah, I found him. All right. And so the guy was asking me, like, what's going on? What is he doing? And I was like, oh, he's trying to mix up something. And I was like, he's banned from doing that. He is not supposed to be doing this. And he was like, why is he banned? I was like, well, he is supposed to be facing the council for something. And he has not gone to the council. He's trying to, get out of facing the council. He is banned from doing this type of magic. This is a violation. And so he was like, why was he black? And I was like, oh, he was black in the dimension because he's doing these Enochian sigils. And I was like, in his time, I don't know if they were necessarily called Enochian sigils, but whatever the sigils are that are connected to that, right? Because the Enochian sigils did not start with John Dee, right? They were already in existence, and he helped to bring them into physicality and then attach a concept to it so people would understand which symbols these are and what it connects to. But he did not create these sigils, they were already in existence. And I'm not talking about on Earth, because I don't know if they were in existence on Earth or in the Earth realm, but I'm just saying that the sigils predate him. So whatever that was. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and I said, I was like, he was trying to block out being seen, which he successfully did to a certain extent. However, the sigils are incorrect. And I said that, and I started laughing, and the guy was kind of confused as to why I was laughing. And so I was like, I'm laughing because whoever gave him these sigils, they didn't understand that your intention also creates the sigil. So it's not just about you writing it and you automatically get, protected or whatever. It's also created through intention. So if you don't have an intention, your ward is not going to look how you think it's going to look, because some of these sigils and some of these energies are not created for you to do negative things with it or to try to go against the quote unquote system with it. And so I'm like, yeah, in a sense it did hide him, because the fourth dimension was blocked out, but then the fourth dimension was blocked out. And so I'm like, well, why is it blocked out? So inevitably he would have been discovered, right? And I was like, and the words are not correct, because there's also an energy that goes along with you creating it that you also have to have. And you can't fake that. That can't be faked. So if you don't even know there is an energy that goes along with it, you already are going to write them wrong. And so, yeah, he was doing something. And I remember that he had mixed up some type of concoction or whatever. And it turned out electric purple, which I've seen this electric purple before. Now, this was a deeper purple. Now, I've seen super light kind of neon purple before. This was a really deep violet kind of purple, which, again, it wasn't the right color. And I knew that he was actually trying to make gold. So he was trying to do the Philosopher's Stone. And I knew that whatever he was trying to do, it was I'm not sure in what type of way, but he was trying to create bodies or something. I don't know, child. I don't know. I haven't even really looked into it because there's so much stuff going on, but I probably will look into it now that I'm talking about it. But yeah, he was trying to create bodies or connections to bodies. So he was trying to escape some type of system by, oh, look, Kwa. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Kwa. Kwa, the Eshikwa, the immortal ancestors. Yeah, and that is a way of time travel, is traveling through bodies that you used to be connected to. You know, if you're working through ancestral karma and stuff like that, then you have access to a lot of your ancestors' previous bodies to look through their eyes, look through their experiences and things like that, which is a whole nother thing that I'm going to have to talk about at another time. Yeah. And that it kind of reminds me of, like, last night I was watching this woman who was talking about her journey from witchcraft to, like, Jesus, you know, and those are so interesting to listen to because, you know, she's going to really a lot of detail about, you know, what deities showed up, you know, what they were asking of her and stuff like that, and then how she ultimately you know, got back to Jesus, right? And so it's very interesting because she's very knowledgeable and, you know, knows a lot of different things. And I'm not saying that I know everything. That's not where I'm going with it. But it just made me think about, you know, when people are talking about witchcraft, they're talking about spells and all these things that really, I personally feel like it's off limits to people, and why certain people are really magnetized to the Christian mentality, which is separate from Jesus and God. Like, I'm not going too much into there, but it's pretty, like, obvious, right? Like, in a sense, like, Ray and I are part of the Wimley family, but we are not the entirety of the Wimley family. So we're not the full representative. So if somebody writes, like, this is the Wimley guidelines for how to act as a Wimley, I'm not obligated to follow that. And it's interesting, but that doesn't mean that it contains everything that it is to be a Wimley, right? I don't know if that makes sense. I hope that it did. But Jesus and God exist outside of Christianity. They are entities, beings outside of Christianity. So anyways, I think a lot of people are, like, off limits to these concepts because you really have to have a very, very good grasp on yourself and your shadows before you even start thinking about it, which is really crazy because at the end of the day, like, and I'm really oversimplifying it, but this is, like, where it starts. Like, witchcraft really is just having, like, full control over your mind and then figuring out how to influence other people's objective realities. So not their subjective realities, but their objective realities through your free will. So I'm making a distinction because subjective reality is, like, you can have a lot of thoughts about people, right? But that doesn't actually mean that that's what's actually going on in their mind. Even though you could be picking up that vibe, you're actually kind of co-creating between their essence and some type of interference. Now, sometimes it's exactly what you think that it is, which means you're in their objective reality. So, like, someone might have a thought about me, you know, and that's, like, you know, how I felt about things 2 years ago, right? And so they might have really strong feelings about what I said 2 years ago, and they might be constantly interacting with that essence of me. That's a subjective essence of me because I, in the present moment, in my objective reality right now, this version of you that's talking to you right now, is not in that space anymore. And that's, like, you know, how it is when, like, you haven't talked to someone in a very long time and then you talk to them and, like, your view of them was warped because they're not still in the same place. That's the difference between somebody's subjective essence and then their objective essence. So in magic, what a lot of people are trying to do is to tap into someone in the present moment, in this now moment, and influence them in some type of way. Now, that's, like, more like the shadow, kind of like black magic kind of aspect. But then just like in a overall just kind of existing sense, it's really just, using your mind and your space to put you into a better position in life, better feeling about yourself, to surround yourself with, supportive people, something like that. And then in the more ascended view of it, I would say once you get out of kind of like the Aries, the self, the beginning of the zodiac, which is important, right? Because that's like the alpha. Then you go to like influencing the collective at large. Like what would be better, like that wouldn't be in reality anymore. You know what I mean? Like what things could we implement to make reality safer for all humans, safer for innocents, like babies and newborns and things like that, for elderly people? What would make, life a lot easier to navigate, like universal basic income, stuff like that. But it all starts with mental matching. Now, people have all different type of ways that they connect into stuff, and there's definitely negative stuff out there. There's definitely really positive stuff out there too. Yeah. So I just wanted to I know I just like went off on this whole tangent just now. I'm working on it. Oh, look, that's cute. I'm looking at this bus, and it's got all of the kids' names on the windows. That's cute, and that's nice. They get to like personalize the bus. That's so cool. Okay. All right. I've been talking for long enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and get on up off of here. But I think I was bringing up all the magic stuff just to also like reiterate, whenever you start walking on people's free will, I can tell you that you start losing your free will. So any type of energy that's like pushing you towards taking someone's free will or egging you on that, oh, you have all the power and you can do this and do that, I'd be wary of that energy. And, don't ever come to these energies that are outside of the God system, because I will say that the lion's share of the deities that are outside of God's domain, and not outside of his domain, like, he doesn't interact with them, but I'm just saying, outside of the God system, you don't want to come to them as servants. I don't think you should go to God as a servant either, right? Because the deepest connection you have is obviously a connection. Like God as your father is going to be way more important to cultivate than God as your master. You don't want to go to any spirit as a master. Like you don't want to go up to people as masters. It's the same type of energy. Like if you just go in front of like a narcissistic person, you're like, I want to do everything that I can do to help you. They're going to use you, and they're going to use you up. So make sure that, you're setting intentions for yourself, your affirmations for yourself, that you leave space for free will, right? Harming none along the way. These type of things, because your intentions behind something definitely also has an impact on things. Now, why does he have these horses like this all cramped up? Okay. All right, friends, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And I will be back later on. I promise you, as it goes on, I'm gonna get more organized with my thoughts and stuff like that. But shout out to you if you heard the whole thing. Shout out to you. Okay. Bye.